Good morning, Falco. Right about this low ink being forgettable. I still remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. Hello, Joe Rat. Are you the Joe Citrus? What in the world was wrong with you during that tower control Manta Maria game? Can you calm down, please? You realize children were watching that, right? You think your internet's dead while you're talking? You're in chat. That proves it's a lie. JPEG, I'm going to allow that. Where did it go, though? I don't see it. I allowed it, but I don't see it in chat. I don't know what resting voice sounds like, though. Good morning, Garrett. Thank you for the host. Stay on the TV and fish the smash. Smash the fish pun. Hopefully I'm gonna get around to mowing my yard at some point today. And while I'm going to listen to the Moray Tavern podcast while I do that. This needs to go. Ayo, the Popcast. Oh yeah, I saw JPEG followed Silver. That's really awesome. You should feel honored, Silver. Good morning, Evie. You're getting vaccinated right now to Target. That's awesome. First or second dose? You got a gas station ad when you join? That's great. That's great. I'm glad somebody is sponsoring me. Whether it's 7-Eleven or whatever. Howdy Toph. I assume your power's back on now? We played our Ludi set yesterday. And we beat them pretty badly the first two games. Then game 3, Tofu's power went out. And lucky for us, we had our fourth in VC, and they hopped in. We just picked up right where we left off and got a nice win. But make sure you always have at least 5 people ready for Ludi, because you don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes the disconnect is 100% out of your control. But being the, since this is our 5th Ludi? Yeah, this is our 5th Ludi. We're experienced, so we're very accustomed to dealing with bullcrap when it comes our way. Oh, Citrus talking smack. You're gonna 5-0 everyone? You lost to a couple of Div 5. Well, who'd you lose to on Sunday? But you lost to a Div 5 team yesterday, and you're coming in here already talking that smack? Man. Talk is cheap, and everyone can afford it. When is the Ludi Div part? That is going to be Wednesday. We're going to recap everything that happened in Divs 5 through 8 on for week 1 of Ludi on Wednesday. Also, in Divs X through 4, I'm going to call out a few folks that beat their chest saying that they were too good for the div that they are, that lost this past weekend. Because I don't like it when people beat their chest before they do anything. Oh, I'm going to 5-0 my group. Oh, you are always the ones that end up screwing yourselves over. And I'm going to make sure everybody laughs at you. Not talking about you specifically, Joe Rat, but the people in Div 4 and Div 3 talking that noise. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I saw it. And I'm not going to let you get away with it. People are sleeping on Sakanaga? Nope. Nobody is sleeping on them. I'm not. I told you they were good. Not going for the throat. People, look. People made themselves targets. I'm just making sure they don't get away with it. Dragon, what team are you? What team are you on? Are you the dragon on the Splatarians? No. Oh, the dragon on Riot. Did it? I think a player for Riot subbed for night surfing at some point in this tournament, which is scary because I don't know how that works verification wise if Riot were to play again. I think if you sub for a team at any point, you're considered a winner as well if that team wins. Where's the Miss Popcast? Miss Popgun's already been on the Popcast. Miss Pac-Man's the better game. Well, that's why she's Miss Popgun. You know, Mr. Pac-Man, he doesn't go by Mr. Pac-Man, he just goes by Pac-Man. So, Popgun and Miss Popgun, makes sense. Does anyone still have round or week 1 matches that they need to get out of the way? Or did everyone use their reschedule that didn't get their games in? If you use your reschedule week 1, you are screwed. You are screwed, I'm telling you right now. If you can't find a way to get your week 1 match in, what's going to happen for the next 5? What, you're just going to magically be clear for the next 5 weeks? No, that's likely not the case. You're going to need another week to take a break and you can't use your mulligan anymore. A lot of people are going to be screwed. What is this? Oh, one team dropped. I was like, why are these guys 2-0? Is all of group 5 done? That group's done. Group B is done. Riot and Citrus, why are you guys talking crap to each other? You're not even in the same group. It's not even likely you guys will play each other. What is this? No, Lost Inklings and LabX, they used their rematch. Okay, so everyone in America except for Lost Inklings and LabX are done with week 1. That's awesome. A round of applause for you, unless it's not. Got group 5, div 5, the world. Yes, no. Hold on, Miss Sneeze. We're back. Okay. Friendly smack talk. What's this thing? Group B, Div 5 World. What are you guys doing? Do you guys not play the game? What's going on here? 0 ink dropped. Okay. Okay. So Group 5 is basically done, except for Group B. Div 5, Group B of the world. Get your crap together, dudes. Play your games. Spit spot. Yo, Div 6 America 100% done. Attaboy. Div 6 World 100% done. Div 6, everybody in Div 6 got their games in. All 48 teams got their games in. Let's go, dude. How about that? Div 6, they know what they're doing. Taking care of business. Attaboy. That's worth a follow. Thank you. I believe I pronounced that correctly. Div 6 ain't no chumps. Div 7 America's 100% done. What about the world? What about the world? Yes. 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 Yo, Div 7 done. Div 6, Div 7, 100% done. Yo. I'm so proud. So proud. You guys didn't waste your mulligans. You listened. I told you don't use your mulligan week 1 and you didn't. What kind of dumpster fires, Div 8? One mat, bottled water, and deep sea Kraken's the only ones not to get done in the America Div 8. But the World Div 8. They're done. They're done. Okay, so just one match needs to be played in Div 8. Okay, maybe I shouldn't wait till... Maybe I should do it Wednesday. Or Tuesday. What's my schedule like tomorrow? Yeah, let's do it Tuesday. Why wait? Let's get to work. Low level you didn't expect. It's because I told you guys, get your games in. Get your games in. Don't be wasting time. Don't wait. You don't want to use your mulligan week 1. You don't want to do that. And a good chunk of you didn't. So congratulations to you. Huzzahs all around. Yeah, some people in Div 5 did their matches on Tuesday. Which I think is ridiculous, but to each their own. To each their own. Hello, Takora. Taku, not to be confused with Saku. Are you settling into your new living facility? No class today? Why is there no class today? When are finals? Mizuno. When are finals for? Is that next week? The week after? It's got to be coming up. Oh my gosh. Everybody gets excited when Miss Pop Guns are in. Everyone gets so excited. Oh, so excited. Finals start May 2nd, so that's next week. Okay. So you got one more week of class and then finals week. Okay, so then that means ITAP's going to be playing in every tournament after, excuse me, after next week. ITAP's going to be playing in everything. Hello, Emil. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. I'm gonna go strong. Hey, Emil, you should be proud of Div 6 and Div 7. Every single match in Div 6 and Div 7 got completed in week 1. No reschedules. No nothing. Everything got done. How about that? You're not using your reschedule for finals week? Like 8 drops in Div 7 though? Oh my gosh. Maybe that's why some of those matches got done in time. Can you, now look, I said if less than 25 teams drop, I'm buying everybody ice cream in the community. We're probably way past, I would assume we're already past 25 if you include the teams that signed up and dropped like before they actually got a div. We're probably past that. What in the world? That's gone. Okay. We're good. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or VOD, Twitch or YouTube, while you're battling other Joshes with pool noodles, losing your Ludi set by a score of 4-4 because a ghost rode the tower, answering questions in the Ludi help desk, even though you are not actually on Ludi staff, whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. News. Tournaments coming up. Minnow Cup is going to be on May 15th. This is going to be the Clan Blitz edition. I saw they updated their cutoff for what is and ain't going to be allowed skill-wise for their tournament. I didn't read all the way through it because because I already know I'm banned, so I didn't really care. But we'll go back and look at that a little bit later. At the same day, same time, Checkpoint 1 is finally coming back with their tournament. Again, I have always said Checkpoint 1 and Minnow Cup can run at the same day and time because I feel like those are two different skill gaps. The people that would sign up for Checkpoint 1 wouldn't play in Minnow Cup, and I would assume the vast majority of people in Minnow Cup are already banned from Checkpoint 1 anyway, so let them run at the same time. Who cares? No word on when the next Ash Cup is going to be. I hope we do have another Ash Cup at some point. I like that tournament. It's nice to have a group double or a group to single limb format. We don't really get a whole heck of a lot of that in low level outside of Little Squid League. Speaking of Little Squid League, I don't know when their next tournament is either. I heard a rumor that they were taking a Ludi break. I don't know if that's true or not. But regardless, LSL seems to be streaming a lot of Ludi sets, which is awesome. So LSL, even though they aren't running their tournament, they are still being active within the community. So I don't know. I would look into Little Squid League and see what they are doing to see, like, if you have a match you want to get streamed, maybe contact them. I don't know what their standards are, if they're just doing like Little Squid League eligible teams, or if they're just doing anybody that they consider to be low level or whatever. But I do want to plug that they are streaming Ludi sets to some extent. Ludi, if you're coming here for the Ludi recap, I said I'm going to do 2 episodes a week. That is going to be on Wednesday. I need to spend a few extra days looking over everything. We're going to be recapping Divs 5 through 8. of week 1 of Ludi. I'm also going to point out a few interesting matches from Div X down to Div 4. I'm not going to do it in depth, every single thing in Div X through Div 4, but there's a few things that interest me. Mainly some teams that went on Twitter and said, you put me in the wrong div because the Ludi seating council sucks. Uh-oh, some of you who said you were too good for your div got spanked over the weekend, and I'm going to point it out because if you're going to take shots at us, we're firing it right back at you, baby. Yeah. Oh, foot's in your mouth it's going to get called out here on the Popcast. Sorry, not sorry. Today, we are going to be recapping Low Inc. Swiss, Gamma, Beta, Alpha, Delta, Zelta, whatever other things you're going to be talking about, whatever other Greek, what I don't even know what those things are. Like, what is Alpha and Beta and Zeta? What are, there's Greek something, but I don't really know what it is that those things actually are. Whatever it is, we're covering it all, baby. The whole shebang-a-bang. Everything about Low Inc. But first, I got a new segment that I want to start doing here on the Popcast. It's called What Did We Learn? From this past Low Inc., what did we truly learn from this tournament? Well, we learned that we can actually have a normal, peaceful tournament where both days are chill and free of stress and need and pointless drama. We found out that people that can actually play through an entire grand final set without dropping or needing to go Betty by. We learned a lot of that. But the question going into this Low Inc. was, how were teams going to deal with pressure? So many teams were on the bubble of being barely legal for what the new standards were for Low Inc. and being maybe slightly too good for the Low Inc., just based off of what they were doing on paper. So many big name teams, however, that were in Div 4 did not survive the weekend. Some didn't even survive Saturday. In fact, we had a lot of Div 4 teams that you would assume, just by the fact that they are Div 4, would do extremely well in this tournament. A slam dunk to make Alpha bracket. Of course, these Div 5, Div 6 teams can't touch them, right? Well, when you add into the fact of something we've been talking about for a long time, it's called being the hunter versus being the hunted. Div 5 is loaded with teams that are pissed off because they got a 5 next to their name and they felt like they should have a 4 next to it. On the flip side, you got a lot of teams that have a 4 next to their name and feel like they have to justify that they got that 4. So they are in a position of having to deal with everybody gunning for them, and at the same time winning a tournament that they know if they don't win, people are going to be saying, wow, are they really that good? They are a Div 4 team that lost a Div 5 and below tournament. How is this possible? That is the pressure a lot of teams had to deal with, and I'm not going to call out which team specifically because I don't think that's fair. I really don't think that's fair, but I felt like the pressure got to a lot of these teams. There is one team, though, that didn't have to deal with any kind of pressure because they were a Div 5 team, and they know that if they didn't win the tournament, they're not going to get banned anyways because they're a Div 5 team in a Div 5 tournament. Let's talk about Citrus for a little bit. Of course, you knew we were going to talk about them because they played so well that they basically demanded our attention and that we have to talk about them now. First off, Citrus, as they claim, is the reincarnation of Tonkin, minus 2 players. Their old Twitter bio says they were 4 enchiladas and a white girl. I don't know how many enchiladas they have right now, but they've got enough to be pretty doggone good. Why were they put in Div 5 instead of Div 4? I can't exactly answer that. I don't know the answer to all 320 teams as to why they got put in this div and that div. I would assume, though, just off of regulation, that it probably had something to do with the fact that they used the name Citrus of a team that was traditionally a gamma / maybe beta bracket at some point, which would have been a Div 5 team. Yes, they did switch right before Ludi season happened. And yes, I was aware that they were doing decently well in a couple of tournaments that they signed up for under Citrus. But in all honesty, in 320 teams, if you want to stand out a little bit, you can't use the name of a team that was not particularly good and make us think, oh, well, this is just Tonkin, because it clearly wasn't. It's clearly better than Tonkin, as we found out now, but we can't do anything about it now, and that's the problem. What did we learn this past Lowink? Well, it's not really a new lesson if you listen to several episodes of the Popcast, which I know you do. But this is a lesson that is going to continue to be driven into your skulls until you morons understand what's going on here. Ludi divs are not ranking system for the entire community. It is seeding for the Ludi tournament only. Only! That's it! And the people that take these divs and blow them up to be everything that they're not are the ones that are screwing themselves in this situation. So many teams Citrus beat that are supposed to be div above them and so much better than them that they can't handle it. Div 4 teams that Citrus played against, I think I have the record here. They were 3-2 against Div 4 teams that they played over the weekend. They lost to Geek Squids, who they ended up beating again. They lost to them on Saturday, who they ended up beating on Sunday 2-0 in losers bracket. And they lost to Night Surfing in grand finals. And let's just be honest, Night Surfing's pretty good, as we came to find out. Still a Div 4 team, but still pretty good. Now, Citrus proved they are a Div 4 caliber team. And if we reseeded them today, I think that we would put them in Div 4. But that's the problem, though. We're not going to reseed anybody. We're not going to make any adjustments outside of out in the actual Ludi divs. It's not going to happen, possibly for another year. But we're still going to take these divs that we got, and we're still going to run with it. I want to point out something. A Div 6 team, 60% fish puns. They beat a Div 4 team on Saturday. They almost beat 2 Div 4 teams on Saturday. We had a Div 5 team in Gamma bracket. We had a Div 6 team in Alpha bracket. None of this crap matters in tournaments. This is the beauty of sports. Of any sport. E-sport, ball sports, whatever you want to call it. When we go into the match, before the match happens, we are all 4 players, 4 squids versus 4 squids. We have different backgrounds, different cultures, different regions, different race, different money, race, social status, different divs that define who we are, skill level wise, where we are in the spectrum of social, the social hierarchy, all these things that classify us and divide us from each other. Here's the beauty of sports. When the ball gets tossed up in the air, when the timer says go and you run out of your spawn, all of that crap goes out the window. And it's no longer this person with this background versus that person with that background. It's just me versus you. And for the next 5 minutes, that's all that matters. That's what's so great about this Lowink tournament. Nothing you saw div-wise made any sense at all. And there's so many factors that played into that we're going to get into here. But this is what I want you guys to take away from this. Don't get caught up in what your div is. It defines you only if you let it define you. Some of you got the fact that you were Div 4 and that made you play worse. I can't say 100% fact that I'm not going to ask certain teams, but my mindset is if you came into this tournament with a Div 4 next to you, you probably played a little bit more nervous knowing that you have to win this Div 5 tournament versus these teams that were Div 5 played a little bit better because they were pissed off and felt like they had something to prove. None of this matters. That's all the mental pressure teams put on themselves. That's 100% on them. They bought into the mindset of what their Ludi Div was, and that's the reason why they ultimately choked. It didn't live up to their own expectations. So that's what we learned, or what you should have been learning going into this. Your div does not matter once the game actually starts. We define ourselves and we classify ourselves using these divs. But when the game actually starts, it all goes out the window. Let's talk about the Ludi tournament as a whole. Starting with my top 10, which I'm actually surprisingly pretty proud of this month for some reason. 6 teams in my top 10 made the alpha bracket. 2 made beta and 2 dropped before the tournament even started. The team I had in third place won the whole tournament. I believe that's the best I've done in a long time since I had Fluency picked correctly back in December of last year. So feeling pretty good there. Symphony was in my top 10, and they survived my curse of whenever I put them in the top 10, they do horrible. They ended up making alpha bracket again, even though they still DM'd me after they lost an alpha bracket, blaming me. It's not my fault. Hey, you're the Div 4 team with the pressure on you. But hey, we love Symphony around here. Knife surfing. I said for knife surfing that they needed to avoid bad losses like they had last month. They lost to the Twilight Anglers last month and got swept 3-0 by Spirit Incorporated. And I said you can't take those losses and expect to win low ink. What did they do? They played Spirit Incorporated twice and beat them twice. So a little bit of an adjustment there. Got past the teams that tripped them up last time and punished them this time around. Interestingly enough, the only team to beat Night Surfing this past weekend, the Evening Chickens. Now, the Evening Chickens are a really good team, but last month, Night Surfing beat the Evening Chickens twice by a combined score of 7 games won and only 1 game lost. So the fact that a team they seem to have on lockdown came back and beat them in this tournament and be the only team to beat them is kind of surprising. But hey, you're allowed to take one questionable loss every now and then. And if that's the only loss you're going to have for a tournament like Night Surfing did, obviously something you should be proud of. The other teams Night Surfing beat, and this is a rogue gallery of team: Resilience, Thimbo IHOP, Geek Squids, San Diego, 3AM, Fukatsu Angels. My goodness, they had a rough lineup on Saturday and Sunday and dealt with all of them in pretty dominant fashion. I feel really none of this surprises me, and we'll talk more about it later, but regardless, I feel like this is the most, especially after last month, I feel like this is the most satisfying champion that we've had. Night Surfing, a team that has been playing Battle Chip, whatever they were calling themselves, they've been playing pretty consistently in low ink this year. So this isn't like some new rising matrix coming out of nowhere and just dominating things. This isn't a Xylo showing up out of the blue, out of 2 months of being like having a Xylo moment and then just coming back and dominating this. No, these guys were playing pretty consistently the last 2 or 3 months. And now it just had the right weekend and just took control of everything and flexed on people. So that's a good moment here. A satisfying champion that honestly we haven't had in a while in Lowing. You felt like these guys truly were the best team in this tournament, and it wasn't a fluke situation or like, oops, we let these guys in when we shouldn't have. They deserve this one. Did I miss Citrus on my preview? My bad. Yeah, I did. We're going to miss them going forward? No. Are they going to be allowed in going forward? I would assume so. I mean, they're a Div 5 team in a Div 5 tournament. I don't make, the Popcast isn't where I make, like, the decisions on who is or isn't allowed for anything like that. But, and I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But, yeah, Citrus is going to be a top 10, top 2, top 1 team in my preview next week. That's not going to be a secret. It's no secret there. For the rest of the teams, though, the Div 4 teams that had to play with the pressure of knowing that this could be the last tournament, the last Lowing they ever get to play in, was this it? I don't know. We got a while before the next Low Inc. A lot of things are going to happen. A lot of Ludi matches are going to happen. I believe that the date for the next Low Inc. hasn't started yet, but I think the group stage of Ludi will likely be done by then, or like at least like through week 5 and like maybe a makeup week or something. I don't know. It depends on when the next Low Inc. is, but there's going to be a lot of information that comes out between now and the next Low Inc., just based off of how teams do in Ludi that we're going to obviously look at. I have my general thoughts on who I personally think should and shouldn't be allowed in next month, but there's no sense in me saying that here. That's something that's just going to have to be discussed in Low Inc. staff meetings. So, and it's not my call to make anyways. JPEG signs my paychecks for Low Inc., so it doesn't really make sense to talk about it here, so I won't. Low Inc. as a whole, before we get into a breakdown of what happened on Saturday and Sunday, 90 teams signed up and played in this one. Several dropped, as they usually do. 90 teams is fine. It doesn't need to be. I hate it when we get to the point to where we have to do 4 groups because we have like 129 teams sign up. I like the 110, 115 kind of range of teams personally. I feel like that's a good number. 90 is fine though. I think technically we're not supposed to do a gamma bracket with 90 teams, but gamma is such a tradition now that it just makes sense to have it either way. But the reason why there's 90 teams, plain and simple, it's Ludi. it's 100% Ludi matches. I was keeping up on I was looking at the match results channel on the Ludi server. I saw the Sleeping Seals and whoever they were playing during Low Inc. I believe the Inkcraft Cult dipped on Sunday because they had a Ludi match they needed to play. So it's understandable that the numbers were going to be lower because people have to get their Ludi matches in. And if you're stuck in one of these world groups where you got to play somebody across the pond, really the only days you can play those matches are on the weekend during Low Inc. So it's understandable a lot of teams had to take the week or take the month off from Low Inc. so that they get their Ludi matches in. So I'm not don't read into this and be like, oh, Low Inc. is suffering. They only got 90 teams this time around. No, it's 90 teams is a massive amount of teams to get for a tournament, and that number is gonna dip back up in the next month or the month after. So I don't think anybody's worried about that. A new thing we kind of did, and I don't know, I think a lot of you missed this because it was so impromptu. We were in staff VC Saturday morning, and JPEG was just like, let's do this new broadcast feature in like the public server and just broadcast our staff VC. And I was like, what is that? And he just went and did it, and we just joined that, and that turned out to be like really cool and awesome. And a lot of people I think like 20 or so people joined in on that, and we brought in some people and we just talked to them. We just like did like a quick mini interview with like Mizuno of ITAP, Nightwing of Splatarians. I believe someone from Inkstrike Inklings, maybe Riley from Inkstrike Inklings. We talked to. It was really impromptu and weird and fun. I thought it was fun. It was basically like a mini episode of the Popcast. It was like a radio show, like where you just, all right, let's take some calls from our listeners. Mizuno, you're on line 1. Go ahead. How are you today? Thanks. I've genuinely thought about doing that for the Popcast. My concern is that some of you would be really good to bring onto this thing, and some of you would be really awful and would have really bad takes on things. And that's what I'm scared of, is somebody coming on and doing something. This is a live show. I mean, I've talked about this with the Moray Tavern podcast. Like, Smash controls every aspect of what goes on in that. If somebody just drops like a total F-bomb and he wants to edit it out, he can edit it out in post. If something happens here live, I'm screwed. This is kind of the scary thing about doing a live show. But for something that wasn't streamed, it was just in a Discord server and just whoever wanted to watch it can watch it. That pre-show thing was cool. I hope JPEG kind of expands upon that and we do a little bit more of a pre-show thing, because that was a lot of fun. Other things to kind of keep in mind, there were a lot of subs that were needed. On Sunday. And a lot of teams dropped on Sunday. I think we had our first Alpha Bracket team drop on Sunday that we haven't had drop in a long time. Usually you make Alpha, you find a way to stick it out and get a win. Or playing it, excuse me. But we had a lot of teams drop on Sunday. And a lot of people needed subs. A lot of teams dropped because they couldn't find a sub. So I guess I think we should start promoting more. Like, hey, if you need a sub, you try to figure that out the week before. Like, try to double down and figure out, hey, what's your schedule outright going to be when it gets close to this. Like, we need to start promoting you guys finding your own subs during registration while it's still open. And if you're listening to the Popcast right now, and you're like a free agent or your team isn't going to play, you should definitely put a sub application in, because odds are somebody's going to need you to play for them on Saturday or Sunday, because a lot of teams needed subs and a lot of teams had to drop because they couldn't find a sub. Last but not least, before we go into the Swiss stage of the tournament, let's take a look at this month's, oh, bless your heart, tiebreaker moment of the month. And this goes out to Mission Instinct and Unlimited Woomy United. That's Uwu, if in case you weren't paying attention. Mission Instinct finished in 8th place in their group. Uwu finished in 9th place, meaning Mission Instinct got Alpha, Uwu got Beta. Look at how razor thin close this was. Their personal win percentage was exactly the same, but the first tiebreaker is your opponent win percentage. The OW for Mission Instinct, 55.55. The OW for Uwu, 55.50. You lost a slot in Alpha Bracket by a 0.05 opponent win percentage. Man, that sucks. I don't even know how that 0.5. I don't even know how that's like exactly calculated. Somebody was in the help desk trying to get an explanation on how it's calculated, and I was just like, look, the other team just won like slightly more games, had a schedule that just won slightly more games than you. That's all. I can't look, pre-calculus was, gosh, over a decade ago. And there's no sense in me going back and trying to relearn that. So Battlefy just ran some calculations and you lost by 0.05. That sucks. But hey, win your games. That's all I can say. So Uwu, you get the bless your heart tiebreaker of the month. Congratulations on that. And I'm not saying anybody. I don't think Uwu can explicitly, specifically complained about their tiebreaker. But you guys know, say it with me. Who are the only people who complain about tiebreakers? Losers. That is a fact. Geek Squids went 6-0. I guarantee you, Geek Squids have no idea what opponent win percentage means. They won all their games. They don't need to look into it. Anyways, let's take a look at what happened on Saturday, the Swiss stage. And we're already 30 minutes into this, so we got a lot more stuff to knock out here. Matches of note from the Swiss stage. Dark Rain got a 2-1 win over Mahi Mahi Monsoon. And I need to pay more attention to Dark Rain here. They were a beta bracket team, and I believe they were the team that got bumped up to alpha bracket because 3AM dropped. But they beat Mahi Mahi Monsoon here, who went on to win beta bracket. So this would have been interesting if Dark Rain stayed in beta and those two teams played again, had a rematch at some point. But regardless, Dark Rain is a team I feel like I don't talk enough about on the Popcast here. And this win they got against Mahi is pretty significant considering what Mahi did. So I need to keep more of an eye on Dark Rain because I feel like they're pretty good and I'm not giving them enough attention. A team I am giving enough attention to, and I feel like a lot of you aren't for some reason, the Squid Society, who got a 2-1 win over the Krusty Crew. One of the main reasons why the Krusty Crew got kept out of alpha bracket. I keep saying they are sneaky good, and this is another impressive win. They are racking up a pretty impressive list of teams that they are beating for a team that is traditionally going like 3-3, 4-2, making gamma and beta. They always have... This team is truly the hunter. And I feel like a lot of other teams just aren't taking them seriously, and they keep falling for this trap of losing the Squid Society. They're not sneaky good anymore. They're just good. Symphony got a 2-1 win over the Deep Fried Octolings. Significant because this was the only loss for the Deep Fried Octolings, who should have dropped Sunday instead of just playing their match 3v4, and so we could have switched something out. But I digress. Things happen and we get over it. Regardless, for Symphony, this is a win we honestly don't see Symphony get in Low Inc. Again, Symphony's a really good team. If this was a tournament outside of Low Inc., I think we would expect Symphony to win. But in Low Inc., for whatever reason, they don't win games like this until this month. So this is definitely why I'm pointing it out. A good win for Symphony in Low Inc. And one we would expect them to get outside of it anyways. Booyah X. What the heck happened to these guys? 2-1 over Unlimited Woomy United. Uwu, the team that just barely missed alpha brackets. This was the first game that was on stream, and we didn't realize the significance of this. I thought... Okay, so full disclosure, I'm the main one who picks what goes on stream for Saturday, and we tried to just get teams that we know we don't give a lot of attention to. We try to get new teams on all the time to give them some exposure. I didn't think when I put Booyah X versus Uwu on that this was going to be a match that would decide who makes alpha and who makes beta. I genuinely didn't think that, but game one on stream on Saturday, Booyah X wins, so they get into alpha. Uwu loses, so they're stuck in beta. Okay, so sometimes we get some surprise gems when we just pick random matches to be on stream, and sometimes we don't. But hey, that was definitely a good one to point out, and a very good quality win for Booyah X. Geek Squids got a 2-1 win over Citrus. Again, we're talking about Saturday. We're not at Sunday yet. Don't kill me. This was the only team to beat Citrus in Swiss, though. Shows just how difficult they were to beat in this tournament. that the only team to beat them in their group was the team that went undefeated on Saturday in Geek Squids. So very a nice result, 2-1. It shows it was a very close set. And obviously Citrus would get revenge on them on Sunday. But still, we're talking about Saturday. That's a good win for Geek Squids. Ink Eye got a 2-1 win over the Kraken Warriors. Probably the biggest win in their team's history. Definitely a good win for Ink Eye. Ink Eye, I'm going to talk more about them later because they had a really good Saturday as a whole. And it was highlighted by this win against the Kraken Warriors here. That's a dub. Suffadance got a 2-1 win over Vaporwave. This was a really good month for Vaporwave, a really good bounce back month for them, which makes this win for the LSL top cut team Suffadance even more impressive. So I believe I talk more about them as well coming down the line, but Suffadance, this is the highlight win for them against the strong Vaporwave team. Power Inc. got a 2-1 win over the Bamboo Dragons. These two teams, I think, are the future of Little Squid League. They both made top cut and they did not fight each other, but they faced each other here, and Power Inc. got the better of them 2-1. Once again, keep an eye on these two teams, Power Inc. and Bamboo Dragons, when the next Little Squid League tournament happens after this Ludi season, because those two teams, I feel like, are going to be contenders to win the next one. The match of the tournament, quite possibly the biggest upset I have ever seen in Low Inc. I can definitely say it's the biggest one we've seen in Low Inc. this year. And it is the one that I saw that I thought I didn't truly believe until I went back and watched it on stream from the team that won it. 60% fish puns, 2-1 over Thimbo IHOP. What the hell happened here? This should not be happening at all. This should not be happening at all. This is what I was talking about. When I was talking about when I had Thimble IHOP as my number one team, I said they would find out what it means to be Pure Divinity. Because this is what happened. Pure Divinity is a Div 2 team. IHOP's a Div 4 team. So they beat a team 2 divs above them. In this situation, 60% Fish Puns is a Div 6 team that beat a team that's 2 divs above them in IHOP. It's a different feeling. I went back and watched this set, and I know exactly what happened. I didn't see Thimbo's. I didn't see anything from Thimbo's perspective, but I know what happened. I've been playing this game long enough. I know what happened here. The Thimbo come out and they destroyed FP in game 1. And then game 2 happened, and Thimbo was about to destroy them there too. And then Smash lands a splashdown from the heavens that gets a wipe on a Rainmaker game. And then Fish Puns get the win there, basically off of that wipe. And then that's when it starts playing in your head. The seed of doubt gets planted, and then in your mind it's like, oh crap, this team we're supposed to be destroying, they just beat us in a game, and we're going into this game 3, and we have to win this game 3 or else we're going to lose. And then you go out in that first game and you're like, oh my gosh, we're not dominating in the first minute like we were in the other 2 games, and now they're catching up on us. And that seed of doubt plants in you, and it grows over time. And 60% Fish Puns, who have nothing to lose because they're supposed to lose, and it doesn't matter if they lose, has no pressure on them at all. They can play more loose, and they get the win. And then that's how these things keep happening. And I'm not bashing on Thimble IHOP at all. I love those guys. I had them on the stream like 3 episodes or so ago. I had them as my number 1 team because I felt like they were the rightful team to be at number 1. But 60% Fish Puns, good stuff. Very good stuff. Definitely a hunter versus hunted moment, and it has to be pointed out. I'm sorry. Winners from Swiss. Moving on to the winners of Swiss. Let's stick with FP and go right there. 60% Fish Puns got a 3-3 result with key wins over Thimbo and Enigma and Gay Ming, which is basically an OO gang pickup. and almost got an upset over the Geek Squids as well. They were 1-0 over the Geek Squids. And at that point, I was like, all right, I got to hop in somebody's stream and figure out what the heck is going on here. Because FP is they're on something today, dude. They woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Geek Squids ended up getting that win 1-2. And one thing I want to point out, their opponent win percentage, 65%. That is ridiculous. For a team that goes 3-3, typically what you see for opponent win percentage is like high 40s, low to mid 50s, but mid 60s for 3-3 result. That is insane. That is really insane for a team that goes 3-3. So insane as much that it's even crazier that the 3-3 team had a higher opponent win percentage than them, and that is Cephadonce, who went 3-3 with a 66 opponent win percentage. My goodness, some teams really got screwed over in the seed in what teams they got fed, but took advantage of it. Opportunity gives it gives them more opportunity to pop off, and Cephadonce definitely popped off here. Key wins against CIA, Vaporwave, and a strong showing from an LSL team despite this insanely rough schedule that they got fed. Again, 3-3 teams typically don't get 66% opponent win percentage. The 3-3 teams in the other group didn't even get 60. So this is a massively tough schedule for Cephadonce, and they showed up and showed out here. Speaking of opponent win percentage, the highest one was 69.4%. One of the teams that belongs to is 3AM, who really needs to change their name, because as somebody who's on Low Inc. and the Ludi Seating Council, those teams, 3AM, got screwed up a few times because the Excel documents that we usually use takes their name 3AM and literally converts it to the time 3AM. Like we have to format them to be like, no, this is actual legit text 3AM. Please stop. They get lost a few times. 3AM, change your name, please. Regardless, 4-2 result here with a 69.4 opponent win percentage. Key wins coming against Dark Rain, Squid Society, and the Fukatsu Angels. This team went 2-4 last month. They did make Alpha Bracket outright. They dropped from Alpha Bracket though. I don't know why, but they probably just needed a sub and couldn't find one. But still, 2-4 team goes from 2-4 to making Alpha Bracket with a crazy high schedule and showed up and showed out. Nice work. Nicely done there by 3AM. I don't know. I would like to suggest a new name for these guys. Maybe 3 in the morning might be a good name for them, honestly. Change your name to 3 in the morning. That'd be awesome. Psychedelic Air Launchers, PAL, ITAP Junior, whatever you want to call these guys. They had their first 2-4 result after going 1-5 last month in their first Low Inc. I don't typically point out teams that go 2-4, but this is a new team that is starting from the bottom. And, I like to catch these teams when they start from the bottom. And I feel like these guys are going to grow. I watched their Ludi match that they didn't do well in, but you watch them, you listen to their VC, you see the weapons they choose, and you're like, oh, these guys are going to be good. The only thing holding them back is just personal mechanical skill, which is something that you can improve over time. So it's like, okay, I feel like PAL is going to be a team that's going to be improving. The more they play the game, the better they're going to get, because they have a good environment and everything else they need to grow. They just need to get personally better at the game, and they're going to be pretty good. So 2-4 result here. First time getting 2 wins in Low Inc. Worth pointing out. The Jelly Squids went 4-2 with key wins over the Squid Society, Outcast Ninjas, making beta bracket after making absolutely nothing last month. I see you, Jelly Squids. That is the Jelly Squids, for those of you who don't appreciate my stupid accent. Inksanity went 3-3 last month, turned things around, and went 4-2 here, making beta brackets after not making any bracket at all last month. Key wins coming against the 60% Fish Puns, Broken Controller Gaming, which are 2 significant wins because BCG one gamma bracket and 60% fish puns is I guess is not a Div 6 team if we want to consider what they did this weekend. My goodness. Both losses that they took were 1-2, so nobody swept them on Saturday. So Ink Sanity, a team that kind of gets lost because their name has ink in it, and there are 20 jillion teams that have the word ink in it, and that it's hard to have an identity when you are an ink team. Honestly, it's true. If you have ink in your name, it's hard to stand out from the other ink teams. But I'm trying to give you guys credit, even though your names always suck. I try to keep an eye on who you are. Ink Sanity, that's a nice win there, or a nice Saturday for them. Vaporwave went 4-2 with key wins against the Inksurance Agency, Ink Vaders, the Inkcraft Cult. You get where I'm going with all these ink names here. Come on, guys. And the Berries, making beta bracket after a 3-3 no bracket result last month. These guys look to be just as good as Mahi Mahi Monsoon and LSL 11. Everything we've seen since then shows that might not be the case, that they're not on the same level as Mahi Mahi, but still, this was a good bounce back for Vaporwave, a team that is going to keep improving, and we're going to keep an eye on them for sure. Symphony broke a long alpha bracket drought. The last time they made alpha brackets was during the Trump administration. Now, and they broke it this time around, and they didn't need the opponent win percentage. They didn't need the 4-2 blessings from God to make it. They went 5-1 with key wins against the Jelly Squids, the Deep Fried Octolings, and the Untitled Duck Crew. Attaboy Symphony. Oh, gosh. Remember that Sommer team? Sommer, Schmager, Schlurgenbarger? Whatever they're... I don't... It's a German name, but I don't know how to pronounce it. But they did some pretty good here. Go Team Sommer, 3-3 in LSL. These guys are 3-3 in this low ink, but they are an LSL team that got silver brackets and won silver bracket. And they were the last team to qualify for Gamma bracket here. Their first day too in low ink for their team history. So congratulations, Team Sommer. No, Sommer, Gomber, Vomber. Ink Eye got their first Gamma bracket as well, going 3-3 with key wins against Wildcards, Team Wipe, and the Kraken Warriors. They tweeted out they were excited that they qualified for their first Gamma bracket, and they should be. Attaboy, Ink Eye. We see you. We see you. We stand teams that start from the bottom and keep growing up and start making accomplishments. Some of you guys are not excited at all when you don't like get a medal in alpha bracket. Some teams are just happy to qualify for Gamma. Like this shows like the different in dynamics. One man's trash is another man's treasure, and Ink Eye should definitely be proud of what they accomplished this weekend. Ragnarok. They got 34th in their group last month and got 12th in their group this month, going 4-2 with key wins against Neptune's Envoy, Sommer, Gomer, Schmommer, Gonger, and Titanic Panic. It's going from no bracket to beta. We had a lot of teams in beta bracket that did not make any bracket at all last month, so definitely want to point that out. The biggest winner from Saturday, the biggest winner of Saturday, give me Booyah X. 4-2 with a 69.4 opponent win percentage, key wins against Uwu, Checkmate, Inksurance Agency, Ink Strike Inklings as well. A 3-0 win against the Ink Strike Inklings. No bracket to alpha bracket. We had a Div 6 LSL team make alpha bracket. Hell yeah! Attaboy, Booyah X. I see you. We stand that. Let's look at Sunday. And we're moving. This is Gamma. Have been banned from LSL now too. I mean that. Yeah, I don't think you can let a. I don't think you can let an alpha bracket team in in LSL. Uh, I mean, they have their opportunities. They've had their chances to win LSL. They always sweep their group and then just trip up at some point in top cut against a team that probably don't need to be beaten, don't need to be losing to. But yeah, I making alpha bracket trumps winning LSL in my opinion. I mean, winning a tournament is a great feeling, but getting to say that you've made an alpha bracket outright, you didn't get in because somebody dropped, like you straight up earned it, that's a pretty good feeling. Let's take a look at Gamma brackets. Matches of note, I got 3 of them here. First off, Broken Controller Gaming won 3-2 over the Night Logic at the very beginning of round 1 of Winners Bracket. This seems to always keep happening. The team that wins an entire bracket usually has to struggle at some point in round 1. It seems like what happens in round 1 is just people trying to wake up, trying to use round 1 as a way to just like shake off rust, to warm up almost, and have to keep avoiding these bad losses. But pretty consistently, I feel like the past 2 or 3 months in a row, the team that has won Gamma bracket almost lost in round 1 and had to go to a game 5. But the trend continues here. Nice loss for Night Logic though. Outcast Ninjas beat version 2.0 3-2. I'm looking at the losers finals here. This is pretty significant for both teams. This is a good win for Outcast Ninjas to get back into grand finals of Gamma bracket, where they haven't been since they lost to Toxic Haze. And a good loss for version 2.0, which is an LSL team that got 4th place in the most recent LSL tournament, to go this far in the Gamma bracket and to take Outcast Ninjas to a game 5. That's a good loss for version 2.0. So this is a win-win situation. Lastly, Checkmate 3-2 over Nightshade. I saw Nightshade tweet out that they weren't particularly happy with the weekend that they had, which is understandable. But for Checkmate here, I feel this isn't to throw shade at Nightshade, but more so to give credit to Checkmate, because I feel like Checkmate's been kind of in a rut for a little bit, and this is a good win to kind of help get them back out of the rut. I think we kind of saw them as a beta alpha bracket team with what they did in LSL against Splatter Swim several months ago, and they haven't really risen back up to that level of skill that we were kind of expecting from them. But a good solid win here is a step forward in the right direction for Checkmate. Winners from Gamma bracket. First off, the Shiver Me Inklings swept Enigma 3-0, swept Checkmate 3-0, lost to Broken Controller Gaming 3-2 in semifinals. And then went on to sweep the Kraken Warriors and losers before losing to version 2.0. Shiver Me Inklings making a good run in the winners bracket, continuing it a little bit longer in losers before taking 4th place here. Nice tournament result for the Shiver Me Inklings squad. Of course, version 2.0 deserves some credit here for what they did. You know I love it when teams go on runs in losers bracket, but they got a win here. They swept Novice Clams in winners bracket 3-0 before losing to Broken Controller Gaming, and then rattled off 4 wins in a row in losers bracket. 2-1 CIA, 2-0 Checkmate, 2-0 Clownfish, 2-1 Shiver Me Inklings. Very impressive for this LSL team. Might be punching above their weight class as well. Last but definitely not least, Clownfish deserves some credit here for what they did. Sweeping Power Inc. 3-1 over Sommer before losing to Outcast Ninjas and losing to version 2.0, making it basically to winners semifinals. This team made beta bracket last month, but they didn't really do too well in beta bracket. Doing a lot better here in Gamma bracket, a bracket below, but still a better result all around and get more experience for them. They got some really strong players on there, especially Adept, who looks pretty cracked with those Glugas. So more opportunities for Clownfish to flex those Glugas is a good thing. Grand Finals here. Outcast Ninjas versus Broken Controller Gaming. This is a rematch from the winners bracket where BCG beat Outcast Ninjas 3-2. And it seems like these two teams are pretty matched up evenly because BCG won 4-3 here. Yes, it's not a bracket reset. It doesn't have to be a bracket reset for both teams to be close. If the Ninjas just win one more game in Game 7, then it's a bracket reset. But the fact that they lost it doesn't mean that these two teams are separate. They seem pretty equal if you just look at the games that they played here. What does this mean for both teams going forward? For the Outcast Ninjas, this Div 6 team bounced back. We've been waiting for the Ninjas to bounce back. They haven't seemed to have risen to that same level that they did. Gosh, I want to say it was November or October when they were playing. It had to be in November when they played Toxic Haze in Gamma Bracket Finals, and they lost a bracket reset to them. And since then, we haven't really seen the Ninjas rise to that level. They're back. And especially, I'm going to talk about them on Wednesday because they got a really nice win in Ludi in week 1 that we'll be talking about then. But for even though they didn't get the win here over Broken Controller Gaming, still a good bounce back for them. For Broken Controller Gaming, though, this is a very good result. I would assume this is the best result that they've had in their team's history. It's the best I can remember. They might have made like a beta at some point, but would you rather just make beta bracket or win Gamma bracket when you're a team that doesn't have like a tournament win at all under your belt? I think you want to win Gamma bracket. I think that's a much better feeling to be consistent across 2 days instead of have a good Saturday and a not so good Sunday. So Broken Controller Gaming, this win puts them on the map, a team I don't talk about enough, but when you do something like this, you force my attention. I have to talk about you. Nice win for BCG. Let's see what this leads to going forward. Keep it in mind, though, these two teams are Div 6. Might play again in the future against each other. I can't recall off the top of my head if they're in the same group or not. I doubt it. The odds of that are very unlikely, but who knows? Maybe a playoff matchup in the future. I'm going to run off real quick. And we're running. And welcome back to Beta Bracket. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. Tune in tomorrow where we cover Beta Bracket. A whole episode just of Beta Bracket. Beta Bracket matches of note. The Insurance Agency got a 3-0 win over Mahi Mahi Monsoon. Yikes! This is Mahi Mahi Monsoon, spoiler alert, they win this entire bracket, and that's a good thing. But what the heck happened here? The agency swept them 3-0 in quarterfinals of winners. Yikes! Yikes! That shows how good the agency is, and we're going to be talking about them a little bit down the road. Spoiler, they're a winner here because they got a really nice win here and some other good wins, but my goodness, I don't think I can recall a time where a team that won a bracket got swept 3-0 at any point in a tournament. That's an impressive win for the agency. Squid Society got a 3-1 win over Inkstrike Inklings. I'm telling you guys, don't take this team lightly. They keep getting heads mounted on their walls of top level alpha bracket, high beta bracket teams that have won low ink they've beaten. They keep finding their ways to take those wins and put them up on their fireplace. Stop it. Either these guys need to start making alpha bracket consistently and start getting some more wins around this range, or you guys need to start beating them. It's ridiculous that they're not making alpha bracket with the wins that they keep consistently getting here. So nice win once again, Squid Society. Uwu beat Rising Tide 3-0. Why am I pointing this out? Because Rising Tide was one of those teams that rised because of other teams dropping. They made Gamma Bracket and teams dropped. They got bumped up. And a lot of the times in these 1 versus 16 matchups, what we usually see is the team in the number 1 spot, especially Uwu, who lost Alpha Bracket by 0.05%. Opponent win percentage, might not be crazy happy to be in beta bracket versus Rising Tide, who's like, heck yeah, we get to be in beta bracket. This is awesome. Usually that's a trap game, and it looked like it was, but Uwu was able to get the win in game 5 that we traditionally don't see a number 1 seed get in these 1 versus 16 matchups with that kind of specific scenario there. So that's a good win for Uwu that they were able to avoid the upset there. The winners from beta bracket, give me the Inkstrike Inklings. This might seem like a diss to them because I feel like they didn't want to be in beta bracket, but I love it when teams pop off in losers bracket. They lost to Squid Society 3-1, like I mentioned, then went on a tear. 2-0 Cephadonts, 2-0 Uwu, 2-1 Wiggly Phantoms, 2-0 Squid Society. Got some revenge on them. Why couldn't you do that back in the winners bracket? Before losing to Mahi Mahi Monsoon 2-1, the team that went on to win the whole tournament there. So Inkstrike Inklings, I feel like they are an alpha bracket contender every time. This is a good Sunday for them. Sometimes just having a good Sunday, regardless of what bracket you do, you end up placed in, can be a good motivator for you going forward versus just being, yes, we made beta bracket, but we lost in losers round 1. The Squid Society, obviously, I got to give them some credit here. I talked about how they beat Inkstrike Inklings. They also beat Ragnarok 3-2, a team I don't talk about, a newerish team that's getting a lot of wins. I believe I had them listed as a winner for what they did, going from 34th in their group to 12th here. They were able to beat them, losing to Insurance Agency and then losing the rematch to Inkstrike Inklings. Guys, Squid Society is going to keep stealing wins from you people until you guys take them seriously. The Insurance Agency is the last team I'm going to give a winner's role here too, and they did really well, taking 3rd place in this bracket. They won 3-2 over the Jelly Squids, swept Mahi Mahi Monsoon 3-1 over Squid Society before losing to the Splatarians 3-2 and then getting swept in a rematch against Mahi Mahi in losers finals 3-0. Insurance Agency, no bracket last month to 3rd place in beta bracket this month. Some teams, when they finally get into a bracket, they take advantage of it. The agency did just that. Grand finals. Splatarians, a team I had very highly in my top 10. I believe we had them on during the pre-show, and they said that the last 3 or so champions had to beat them at some point in low ink. So this is, I don't think Night Surfing played them. So this is probably the first time the Splatarians, the road to the low ink championship didn't go through the Fighting Nightwing crew. But regardless, this is a Splatarians. You love it when a team that is supposed to make alpha bracket loses and still plays their way through beta bracket, because they almost always show that they are still good enough to be as highly touted as we see them as. Where they went all the way, they won winners bracket and got into grand finals of beta. Mahi Mahi Monsoon, on the other hand, didn't give a flying flip. 4-1 in the first bracket, 4-0 in the bracket reset. Dang! After the agency slapped around the Monsoon team in winners quarters, Monsoon team got pissed and played like it for the rest of the day. 2-0 Fish Puns, 2-0 Tuniverse, 2-0 Krusty Crew, 2-1 Ink Strike, 3-0 Insurance Agency, 4-1 Splatarians, 4-0 Splatarians. They only lost twice after getting swept by the agency, and then won 2-4-6-8, 10-11, 19-2 once they got swept by the agency against really notable alpha bracket teams. Yikes. So what does this mean for both teams? Like I said, for Splatarians, this is a good result. Yeah, probably not the beta bracket they were grand finals they were hoping for, but still, it proved that their Saturday, that they're still a good team. Like Saturday was just a fluke. They came out and had a strong Sunday regardless. What does this mean for Mahi Monsoon? What they did in LSL. They won LSL a couple of months ago. Who cares? Who cares anymore? They're not like that. That means nothing to them. Like this should mean nothing to them right now. Like these guys are getting pretty scary. Like these guys might be top 10 scary. We're going to keep an eye on what they do in Div 5, the Div 5 group that they're in, which is with ITAP, Tuniverse, and Amnesia. Heck, they already beat Tuniverse 2-0 here. They might be the favorite. If you're ITAP and you're watching this, yikes, this is a scary result. And it's going to be interesting when Mahi and ITAP play against each other in that group. But wow, what a flex Mahi pulled out on Sunday. What a flex. Let's go into alpha bracket. I have one match of note in alpha bracket, and that's it. Fugatsu Angels 3-1 over Citrus. This was the only time Citrus lost other than to Night Surfing in Grand Finals. And it was an interesting loss. At one point, the Angels were up 2-0 over Citrus. So it was really interesting to see that was happening. And when that happened, I didn't expect that I would ever be talking about Citrus again after that kind of loss against a team like the Angels. The Angels went on to have a pretty good bracket, and obviously Citrus got the better end of them on losers. But the other reason why that's the only match I'm going to talk about, no match, and I believe this is a first. I would be willing to bet this is the first time this has happened. No matches went to 3-2 in the entirety of winner's bracket. Everything was 3-0 or 3-1. Literally everything. In fact, if you include grand finals, the losing team never even got 2 wins at any point in this entire bracket. That is really weird. So instead of just me talking about the bunch of 3-0, 3-1s, I feel like nothing here really is super surprising. I mean, any of these teams are all right with each other. So one team beating another team isn't surprising at all. So there's not really any other match to talk about here. That's the only upset, the Angels over Citrus. So that's it. Let's move right on to the winners. First off, the winners I have in this bracket, you got to give it to the Geek Squids here. They really popped off in this tournament. They got their first 6-0 result in their group, first time ever in low wing. They continued the trend going here. They beat Dark Rain 3-1, got revenge on Resilience, who beat them earlier in the week in Ludi. Got revenge on them, beating them 3-1 here in the tournament before getting swept by Night Surfing, and then they beat Evening Chickens 2-0 before getting swept by Citrus. Again, they beat Citrus on Saturday, but Citrus got the revenge on them when it mattered the most on Sunday on stream. So this is the best result from the Geek Squids, and this is a result they needed to have. They desperately needed to have this kind of result, and they really bought into that Angie mindset, which is awesome. And this is what they needed. This is the best tournament the Geek Squids have ever had. It gets lost in the fact of what Citrus and Night Surfing was able to pull out here. But the truth is, This is the best tournament the Geek Squids have ever had, and this was the right time for them to have it. They needed to have a tournament like this. I'll see them do it again next month. The Fukatsu Angels. Heck of a tournament here. I said they beat Citrus. They did go on to beat Karma in the next set before getting swept by San Diego and losing to Citrus again in losers finals. But still, Fukatsu Angels, definitely not a team we would consider to be an alpha bracket. Definitely not a team we would consider to be finishing in 5th place with the Evening Chickens in alpha bracket overall. So a very good weekend altogether for the Angels, a team we need to keep an eye on for the future. Top 10 team? I don't know, but they're definitely one of the better Div 5 teams we have in all of Div 5. They prove that right here. Last but certainly not least, the University of California, San Diego Esports, the best college team we have in the world for Splatoon. The Fighting Triton Splatooners here beat Symphony on Stream 3-1. Beat the Evening Chickens 3-1. Swept the Angels 3-0 before losing to Night Surfing after taking one game off of them. I said if they don't figure out how to handle Mofugami, the god of fluff, and Monster John, that Night Surfing was going to be in for a short bracket. They figured out how to handle those two. So it worked out to their favor here. San Diego ended up losing to Citrus 1-3 in losers finals, but taking 3rd place. A very strong showing for San Diego. I'm going to be talking about them on Wednesday because they got a nice win against the quality opponent on the Ludi match. And I tweeted out, is it too late to change my top 10? Because I feel like San Diego is going to be doing really good in this low-ink tournament, and they did. 3rd place is not too shabby. San Diego justified. I think that might have been one of the ones where people were like, you put San Diego in Div 4, that's kind of sus. They proved it. The stream died. Okay, just for you and not for other people. Okay, cool. Don't scare me like that. Because we're just now getting to the grand finals. Grand finals, Citrus versus Night Surfing. It doesn't surprise me. I feel like we've seen this story before. Night Surfing comes in with the long delay. Citrus comes in with the hot win streak of beating the entirety of losers bracket. 2-0 Deep Fried Octolings, 2-0 Resilience, 2-0 Spirit Incorporated, 2-0 Fukatsu Angels, 2-0 Geek Squids, 3-1 San Diego Esports. I believe at one point they were 11-0, 11-0 in losers bracket. That's clutch. That is clutch right there. And then taking all of that momentum, going in against Night Surfing, who was, I think they were doing League in between while they were waiting. League is not what you guys need to do. I'm telling you, don't play the game at all. Just watch stream with your VC, talk about how you're going to handle the opponents that you're going to play, hit up the training room, go into the game. Do not play League. Do not, whatever you do, the worst possible thing you can do during your break is play solo queue. That is the absolute worst thing you could possibly do, is play solo queue. But we've seen this story before. Game 1, Citrus used their momentum, punched Night Surfing right into the face, and got the win. And then Night Surfing just kind of stood up like you know, like an anime where like the hero comes out and just unloads on the villain, and you're like, wow, the villain is going to lose here. And then the villain just kind of stands up and just kind of, you know, like does this weird thing with their neck and is like, so that's your true power, huh? Well, let me show you mine at like 50%. And then Night Surfing just swept their way through here. I still say this though. I pointed this out on stream. If the Citrus team, and I still have no idea how Night Surfing stopped that tower control push on main stage, but if Night Surfing doesn't get that stop and Citrus uses their specials a little bit better, I feel like they win that game 3 on tower control main stage. And if they win that, then this whole set is completely different at that point. I feel like their mindset after, you could tell just by watching Citrus play after they lost that one, that they were playing desperate. They weren't playing as coordinated as they were in losers bracket, and Night Surfing was like punishing every single mistake that Citrus was going at them. But if they win that game, then they go into game 4 at Clan Blitz Hotel with a better mindset, and it's like, okay, we can lose this one instead of, oh, we have to win this one. And in Night Surfing, I feel like the tournament ended on that one play. And again, no specials, and Night Surfing was able to stop that. Very impressive. But regardless, the result is what it is. Night Surfing wins 4-1. What does this mean for both teams going forward? For Citrus, like I said, they're proved that their div doesn't define them. They obviously played with a chip on their shoulder across this entire tournament. And are they a Div 5 team? No. I think they're a Div 4 team. Is that number, are they going to get a Div 4? No, they're not. For maybe another year, they'll never get that Div 4. That's why I'm telling you guys, stop putting so much stock into what Div you got. Because when the tournament starts, you don't start with a lead in any match because you're a higher Div than the other team. It's all out the window. Everything is equal here. For Night Surfing, again, like I said, I feel like they were the rightful champ here. I feel like of all the teams that we saw here over this weekend, they were the number 1 team. I feel like they proved that. They got really quality wins. Only loss was to the Evening Chickens, who beat pretty much everybody in this tournament at some point. They went 6-0 in Swiss, so no bad losses for Night Surfing. No losses at all on Sunday. So for Night Surfing, I feel like this team fits the mold of the high ink fraternity, as I like to call it, the low ink champions chat. It's nice to have a team like Night Surfing in there. I feel like they'll do. Again, there's not going to be another high ink, so don't make that joke. JPEG doesn't like it, but I feel like this team fits the mold of the other teams within that sector. So it was good to see Night Surfing win there. And that is all I have to say about that. We're done. I'm out of water, so. Let's go raid somebody. Again, come back on Wednesday if you want to recap. I'm doing Div 5 through 8, Week 1 recap, and we're also going to look slightly into Div X through Div 4. Just a few matches I want to point out there that I saw. We're going to go raid somebody. I'm going to get ready to start my day. Maybe mow my yard at some point if my schedule allows it, and listen to the Moray Taverns podcast episode of Nightshade. Let's keep raiding somebody we don't know. I like doing that last time. Okay, I don't think enough people are doing. Wait. The Miggler? Who is that? Let's just do Fish. Honestly, let's just do Fish. Fish is actually doing Splatoon this time, so that makes sense. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, maybe you want to come on for like 2 minutes and talk about something. I don't know. Maybe you want to try out that broadcast thing that we did in the pre-show. Maybe you want to tell me about your team. Maybe you just want to send some information my way. Maybe you want to tell me GGs. Don't do that. I insta-mute people who tell me GGs. I don't GG me. I'm not a GG person. No offense, Damp Waffle. You can GG me here. Just if you see me in solo, I don't care. Come on. Regardless, you can reach me. Twitter at Mr_Popgun, Discord at Popgun, hashtag 5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Discord at Popgun25. Enjoy the rest of your day. Come back on Wednesday. Keep playing your Ludi matches. Congrats to Div 6 and Div 7 for getting all of your matches in. Tell Fish I said hi because I usually just leave. I don't stick around in people's chats. GG's.